In a small village nestled between lush green hills, there lived a young man named Hiro. Although he looked ordinary like everyone else, deep inside, Hiro constantly struggled with a chaotic and restless mind. Every day, he was surrounded by worries about the future and regrets of the past. Endless waves of thoughts rushed through his head, never allowing him a single moment of true peace. Even when life seemed calm on the outside, his mind was like a raging river, turbulent and uncontrollable. One day, Hiro heard about a famous Zen master who lived on the top of a distant mountain. People said the master possessed the secret of silence and inner tranquility, a way to free the mind from its own chains. That story sparked hope in Hiro, and he immediately decided to begin a journey to find the answers for himself. Carrying the belief and desire to free his heart from constant turmoil, Hiro set out on a long and challenging journey, determined to learn how to empty his mind and find the peace he had longed for. After many days crossing deep forests, climbing steep rocky paths, and enduring the biting cold of the mountains, Hiro finally reached the top where the Zen master lived. Before him stood a small temple surrounded by maple trees swaying gently in the wind. The silence was so deep that Hiro could hear his own heartbeat. In the middle of the courtyard, the Zen master was meditating, eyes half closed, his expression serene as if he were one with nature. Hiro stepped closer and bowed with deep respect. He said, "Master, I've come seeking guidance. My mind is always anxious and restless. I long to find peace. Please teach me how to empty my mind so I can live more lightly." The Zen master opened his eyes, looked at Hiro with kindness, and smiled calmly. He slowly stood up and said, "You wish to learn how to empty your mind? Very well, follow me." They walked to a small garden behind the temple where a large stone basin full of water sat in the center, with a small empty bowl beside it. The master picked up a ladle, scooped water from the basin, and poured it into the small bowl. Then he handed the ladle to Hiro and said, "Your task is to empty this basin without spilling a single drop." Hiro took the ladle, stared at the full basin before him, and thought that this task seemed impossible. How could such a large amount of water be poured into such a tiny bowl without spilling any? But determined to find peace, Hiro bowed his head and began. He gently scooped each ladle of water, trying to pour it slowly into the small bowl. But after just a little water was poured, it began to overflow and drip onto the ground like sparkling beads. As time passed, Hiro grew more and more tense. He tried to scoop faster, pour faster, but that only caused water to splash everywhere, while the small bowl could not contain it. Sweat ran down his forehead, his hands trembled from exhaustion and worry. His mind was chaotic, filled with frustration and disappointment. He began to blame himself. Why was such a simple task so difficult? The Zen master watched silently from afar, his eyes calm and compassionate. He said nothing, yet his silence seemed like a mirror reflecting the confusion inside Hiro's mind. In the end, after hours of effort, the water in the basin had barely decreased. Hiro let the ladle fall, bowed his head in defeat, and sighed heavily. At that moment, the master walked toward Hiro. He placed a gentle hand on the young man's shoulder, his voice calm like a cool stream. "Hiro, you are exhausting yourself trying to empty the basin, but you have forgotten the most important thing." Hiro looked up, his eyes filled with confusion and fatigue. He whispered, "Master, I don't understand. I used all my strength, but still I failed. What must I do to finish this task?" The master smiled softly, his gaze warm. "To empty the basin, you must first empty your mind. When your mind is filled with worry, impatience, and pressure, you will never see the right way. You are fighting your own mind, not the basin." Hiro stepped back, his heart suddenly awakened. He realized that all this time he had focused only on the end result and forgotten to be present in each moment. The master continued, "Relax. Let go of your fear of failure, your desire to succeed, and every thought that troubles you. Focus only on each scoop of water, each movement, each breath. When your mind becomes still, you will witness the miracle." Hiro closed his eyes and took a deep breath. He placed his hand on his chest and felt his heartbeat slowly calm down. For the first time in a long while, a gentle peace spread throughout his body, something he had deeply missed. When he opened his eyes again, the world seemed slower and clearer. He picked up the ladle once more, but this time without tension or rush. He lifted each scoop of water gently, listening to the soothing sound of the water, hearing each drop fall into the bowl like a quiet melody. He was fully present, not thinking about finishing quickly or fearing failure. With every scoop, he breathed steadily, his mind unburdened and clear. A miracle happened. The water flowed perfectly into the bowl without a single drop spilling. The flow of water synchronized with Hiro's calm breathing, and the large basin gradually began to empty. Time felt suspended. Hiro no longer knew how many scoops he had taken or how long had passed. There was only silence and the harmony between mind and action. Finally, Hiro poured the last drop into the bowl. The large basin was now completely empty. He looked at the master, his eyes filled with amazement and gratitude. The master smiled and said gently, "Do you see, Hiro? When you are empty inside, you allow the universe to flow through you. When the mind is still, actions become effortless and everything becomes simple." From that day on, Hiro carried this precious lesson within his heart. Peace does not come from trying to control everything. It comes when we let go and live fully in each moment.